often know a lot about the planets in our solar system. Their unique features capture imaginations and are constantly the subject of science fiction movies. But what about moons? Did you know that moons can be just as exciting as planets? Some have volcanoes, some have subsurface oceans, and some are even candidates for places with possible life in our solar system. Beginning with the planets closest to the Sun, let's explore some of the exotic moons in our solar system. If you are searching for the moons of Mercury and Venus, you're out of luck. They have exactly 0 moons. So let's skip our moon and blast off towards Mars to explore one of its moons, Phobos. It is named after the Greek god of fear. But don't be too scared, Phobos is a little moon, less than 17 miles across at its widest point. It doesn't even have enough mass to pull itself into a spherical shape. Instead, it looks more like a lumpy potato. If we compare it to our moon, you can see just how small Phobos is. Phobos is slowly getting closer to Mars. Eventually, Phobos will either impact Mars in a spectacular event and leave behind a crater, or it will get torn apart by tidal forces and become a small ring system around Mars. Continuing outward from the Sun, we arrive at Jupiter, which has over 70 moons. The largest is Ganymede. Ganymede is even bigger in size than the planet Mercury. It has its own magnetic field that can create dazzling, colorful aurorae on its surface, much like the northern lights here on Earth. Another large moon of Jupiter is named Io. Io has incredibly vibrant red and yellow colors on its surface. Some believe it is stunning to look at, and others think it just looks like pizza or moldy cheese. Either way you see it, you have to admit that Io is fascinating. All of those spots on the surface are actually active volcanoes. You can see one erupting in this image taken by the Galileo spacecraft. Io gets regular gravitational tugs from the next 2 farther out moons, Europa and Ganymede. This gives Io an irregular elliptical orbit. As Io moves closer and farther from Jupiter, it gets stretched and squeezed by Jupiter's gravity like a stress ball, causing the interior to heat up, resulting in active volcanoes all across its surface. Continuing on towards Saturn, we can find a moon that is a source of extreme interest for scientists. Enceladus is a smooth, icy world, but underneath its cracked surface, there is evidence for an ocean of liquid water. Scientists are able to study this because Enceladus sprays plumes of liquid out through the cracks in its surface into space, as captured here in an image by the Cassini spacecraft. As it flew through the plume, Cassini was able to take samples and study the composition of its underground ocean without even landing on the surface. Scientists found that Enceladus's ocean contains some organic molecules, making it a candidate for a place that could support extraterrestrial life, right here in our solar system. If life was found on Enceladus, it would most likely be microscopic organisms, not an intelligent alien species that science fiction likes to portray. Another incredible world revolving around Saturn is Titan. From space, it doesn't look too exciting. It has a thick atmosphere. Its atmosphere is mostly made of nitrogen. The only other place in the solar system that has a nitrogen-rich atmosphere is Earth. Methane clouds give Titan a uniform golden appearance. Beneath the clouds, the surface is so cold that methane and ethane can be liquid. This means Titan has clouds, rivers, and lakes in a system just like the water cycle on Earth, but in this case, instead of water, it is methane and ethane. Let's move over to observe the moon Mimas. As we approach Mimas, you might be thinking, that's no moon, but its resemblance to a fully operational battle station stems from its massive crater Herschel that stretches 1/3 of the way across the moon. Since Mimas is very icy, Scientists are surprised that the impact that created such a large crater didn't completely shatter the moon altogether. However, if you look to the opposite side of the moon, there are stress fractures from shock waves that originated all the way on the opposite side of the icy body. Moving on even farther from the Sun, we find a confusing world orbiting the planet Uranus. Miranda is a moon that is often compared to Frankenstein's monster. It looks as if it is pieced together from parts that don't quite fit. The surface has sharp boundaries between geological features and giant fault canyons that can be up to 12 times deeper than the Grand Canyon on Earth. Because of Miranda's low gravity and incredibly tall cliffs, a rock dropped into the largest canyon would take a full 10 minutes to hit the ground. If we go all the way out to the planet Neptune, we will find the moon Triton, revolving in an unexpected way. Triton is the only large moon of the solar system that orbits in the opposite direction than the planet's rotation. This is called a retrograde orbit. Triton is also incredibly cold. Its nitrogen is condensed as frost, not like gas here on Earth, and the frost gives Triton a bright, reflective sheen. These are just some of the hundreds of spectacular and bizarre moons of our solar system. Next time you think of the solar system, don't just imagine the 8 planets and 5 dwarf planets orbiting the Sun, but remember the hundreds of exciting and exotic moons that we have discovered. Who knows, maybe one day humans will colonize a moon, or maybe a moon will even be the first place we find microscopic life somewhere outside of Earth.